Coach, you got another solid outing there from Matt and finished with another career high.
Yes, that was solid, wasn't it? It was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. Right from the beginning, I mean, the first two he made, I mean, he got it off so quick. I mean, they were on him. You know, I mean, he made 7 in the last game. They were on him. You know, and they do a great job of scouting. And he just pulled the trigger, and once he got going, he was on fire.
Have you ever seen a stretch like this from any player that you've ever coached, or just 3 games?
Never.
Even in practice, like he's always been a good scorer, but even in practice in your 2 years here, have you ever seen Matt just get in a zone like that?
You know, in practice, he has done that. Yeah, he has. I've seen it before. But, you know, the thing about him is he puts the time in. You know, he's getting extra shots up. On off days, he's in there getting 500 up all summer long. You know, when we moved into this facility, I mean, you know, we got the shooting gun. I mean, he's in here all the time.
Coach, you talk about the great players that you've coached along the way, some have made it to the NBA. Where does this 2-game stretch for Matt rank in your mind with some of the greats you coached?
You know, most of those guys were front court guys. You know, Troy Murphy, Pat Garrity. Now, Pat Garrity was a jump shooting 4. Alfonso Ellis had a stretch. I remember, I mean, we played USC in LA, and then we played LaSalle in Philly, and then we played Carolina in the Garden. And we drilled all 3 of them. We just rode him. And off of those 3 games, he became the 5th pick in the draft. So, I mean, I think Matt is making a name for himself to be somebody to be considered to be drafted, and certainly making a push for all league, and, you know, should be in the 3-point contest at the Final Four, I think. He deserves that.
Coach, was there no bad shot? I mean, with the way he was shooting over defenders, overhand.
No, we were just going to him, and he could shoot. Yeah, he had the total green, but he has the green light anyway, Rick, to be honest with you. I don't think I've ever told him, hey, that was a bad shot. I don't ever want to put that into a shooter's head anyway.
The way all the attention gets on the final shot when it goes up, but what goes into that as far as his movement before he gets the ball?
Well, I mean, he obviously works hard. Now, we were setting him up. You know, in the beginning, he was getting it on his own. And then once they really started locking into him, we had to start setting him up and running some picking action for him. And he's really good at that. I mean, he knows when to wait, when to go, when to set his man up, how to set his man up. He's terrific.
When you look at these last 2 games, right off the bat, you take it to Indiana, first half. Right off the bat, Wisconsin, you take it to them. Now that you're nearing the end of year 2, how satisfying is it to see the guys come out and play that way?
There's nothing better, because, you know, whenever we would have a loss and we would seemingly be frustrated with how we played, or, you know, the reality is, I just wanted I mean, these kids are working hard for me. They have bought in from day one and given me everything they've had, and ultimately, if you see me get frustrated with the officials or with them, I just wanted for them, and to be able to see them kind of enjoy all this hard work, and see the students rush the floor, and it's the 4th-ranked team we've beaten this year. You know, it just goes to show you what they're capable of doing, and who knows where we're headed right now.
Along those lines, what does it say about your team when you face an opponent like Wisconsin on 2 occasions, and both times you're able to come away with victories?
Well, that's a very difficult team to beat. I mean, their style of play, you know, they turn the ball over 13 times. That's the most they've turned it over this year. They don't turn it over. Now they out-rebound us. We out-rebounded them up there. So normally, you know, we had 13. Normally you have more turnovers than them, and they out-rebound you. So they usually start with that. And those are 2 hard things to overcome. Now you got to shoot a little better percentage. You got to do the free throw line a little bit more, make some more threes, whatever. And normally they make more threes than you. So now, you know, we made more threes, and the others were pretty even. You know, and I thought I thought Melson's 3 blocks in the second half were huge for us.
But how important was the start of the second half? You had a red hot first half, and you think, well, they can't sustain that, and then you came out and took it right to them.
We did, you know, and I think that was important. We talked about that, and you know, everybody in that situation wants for that to be the case. We knew it was our ball. That was helpful, and you know, that helped. That gave us a little bit of a cushion.
You talk about Matt making a push for all league. Can you just talk about, do you think he's maybe one of the more underrated guys in the Big Ten, or maybe kind of goes unnoticed on a national?
Well, you know, I'd like to think that now he's going to start to get the kind of accolades he deserves. You know, because because of him, the team is doing better, and they're going to start talking about us more, and it's going to be because of him. And I said it after the Penn State game. The thing that was frustrating for me was that we weren't able to ride his performance in the second half to victory, like we did the last two games. Because he certainly, we were down double digits. He hits 5 in a row. We're right there. So we're just going to have to be ready on Sunday.
Is the next step for this group dictating the pace? First half, you totally did that. Second half, you got a little bit away from you.
Well, a part of that was, we kept running. I thought a big play in the game was when we had a break. I thought Aaron White was going to dunk the ball. It doesn't go in, they go down and hit a 3. That was a huge momentum play because it was going to go 6-8 as opposed to 6-3. That was like a 5-point play. So that was, once, and at that point, we made another run back at them, and at that point, we weren't going to run. We were going to run a little clock then. And, it was a little frustrating because we had about 6 or 7 possessions where we didn't score. But what we did do was we executed fairly well, and we ran clock, and we got a shot. We were able to get our defense set up to make sure that we were still able to win.
Is it, as a coach, you struggle with a young team, it must be gratifying to see that work.
Well, there's no question. And they're going to make mistakes, and they're going to forget. But the reality is, for the most part, they executed the game plan to perfection, and they fought for it. And that's ultimately what you want. They're kids. They're going to make mistakes, but they were on the glass. They were fighting for loose balls. They were trapping guys. They were rotating. They were contesting. You can't let this team come in here and make 10, 11 threes, which is normally what they do. If you look at the games that they've lost, they're making 5 and 6 threes. And they actually made 5, and he just made the one at the end there. That was 6.
Fran, you had 14 assists, 16 baskets in the first half, and then the numbers were 18 and 24 for the game. That kind of shows the way this team has learned to play together.
Well, I also think it shows the development of Devin Marble, because Bryce gave us some quality minutes. He had 3 assists, but it's fair. It's fair to say that he was just out there on guts. He couldn't keep anybody in front of him. He couldn't move his feet the way he would like to. So hopefully, he was able to get a sweat, get out there and play, and then maybe in 2 days he'll be ready, or at least closer to 100% for Illinois.
The last 7 minutes when you guys didn't score for that entire stretch, did running clock disrupt the rhythm?
No question, and that's always something you're concerned about. But the last thing we were going to do there was come down and quick shoot the ball. Now we were going motion to a set. Might have been better off going set to motion. The problem is when you run set to motion, sometimes you shoot the ball quick. And when Matt's cooking, it was fine, but he missed a couple, and I think he was a little bit tired, so we were letting him run it a little bit, and then we would go to him. What we probably should have done in retrospect was drive the ball a little bit more and try to get to the free throw line. Let Marble go a little bit, give him some space. We tried to go inside twice. Once the Melly got tied up the other time, I think Aaron got fouled.
A week ago after the Penn State game, I watched on TV at home, and it looked like there was bitter disappointment on the players' faces. It's a long season. How does this team not wallow in that and move on and advance?
They've done a great job of that all year long. We've had some tough losses. There have been a couple nights we just didn't play well. Everybody was sideways, and you're coming in the locker room and you're disappointed, and you're disappointed in yourself. We're disappointed as coaches, and you're trying to figure it out. But that's what the journey's all about. You gotta fight through it. You gotta keep coming, and they know that I'm going to stay positive with them, even if I rip them during a timeout. I'm going to stay positive with them. I'm going to keep teaching, and we're going to get better. And when we break the film down, and it might not be pleasant to watch, it's the team and the coaching staff. Nobody else is watching it. They're not getting embarrassed. It's a learning situation. And so what you're seeing is a young team get better and learn from their mistakes. And hopefully now they're playing with they clearly are, but can we go on the road and play with the kind of confidence we're playing with right now?
Obviously,
But Sabi, this is what you expected from him.
Well, Well, the thing about Melson, Brooksy, is, you know, with him, it's all about energy levels. You know, he's gonna, when he's running and jumping and blocking and dunking, you know, we're a better team, he's a better player, our team plays faster, the team plays with more energy. I'm really happy for him, because he never gave up on himself or his teammates.
Obviously, Matt's clock is ticking. It seems like that urgency that he's shown has rubbed off on his teammates. Talk about how they're sort of picking him
Well,
up.
you know, it was interesting, you know, when he was the last one in off the floor, I mean, they ran to him and lifted him up off the floor. I mean, they were, you know, as happy as I'm sure he is, they were more happy for him. And to me, it showed an incredible level of respect for a guy and how hard he's worked and his professionalism and, you know, his captaincy and how he leads. And I mean, that's the way it should be.
Okay.
Thank you.